fell against the ropes. He stayed up and stayed in it. 7th round late. Holyfield finally finds the mark, and the champion shows why he wears the belts. Mills Lane steps in and says, that'll do it. TKO, 2:58 of the 7th round. Evander Holyfield now 27-0 as a pro, and we'll be going down to Atlanta to hear from Charlie Steiner. He ought to have some pretty interesting observations on this fight. That'll be a little bit later on in SportsCenter. Tom?
I'm Paul Runnels with CNN Headline Sports. One of the most exciting heavyweight fights in a long time, Saturday night in Atlanta. Evander Holyfield retains his title, but not before getting knocked around by Smokin' Bert Cooper. The champ went down in the 3rd, but he wasn't out. Holyfield rebounded, got up. Referee Mills Lane then stepped in and stopped it with just 2 seconds left in the 7th round.
No, I was disappointed. I wanted to fight, and a lot of time you can have a bad performance, but you know, the winning conquers all. And you get an opportunity to come back if you want to make it up.
Much to the dismay of Evander Holyfield, Smokin' Bert Cooper was still smoldering in the 3rd round of tonight's heavyweight title fight. Most thought the 22-1 underdog would be finished by that time. Instead, Cooper had Holyfield's hometown fans recalling a night 21 months ago when another underdog named Buster Douglas shocked then champ Mike Tyson. CNN's Fred Hickman has a story from Atlanta.
Evander Holyfield looked as though he meant to end Bert Cooper's evening early. A crisp shot to the body in the 1st round, sending the challenger spinning to the canvas.
That was an unexpected body shot.
You know, he fought a great fight. He didn't let nobody down. He came to fight, and in the 6th round that it was, you know, he fought every second, every minute in the fight, and you had to commend him for his hard work.
And fight back Cooper did. The 3rd was one of the more memorable heats in recent heavyweight history. Heavy blows landed by both men, with Cooper getting the best of it. Holyfield reeling to the ropes in what was ruled a knockdown, the first Holyfield has experienced in 12 years.
Like, my heart started boom, 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 boom. That's why I tired out fast. So my heart was beating fast. I was like right excited, you know? I said, oh boy, this is it. This is it.
When I got hit with a good shot, but you know, I was aware where I was all the times. And I had my hands up, and he was throwing good punch and shot, but you know, I could see the shots coming, and I was aware where I was at the time, and I realized that, you know, he gonna shoot himself out, and I was gonna be able to come back with the counter punches, and in which I did.
Holyfield fought his way back in that round, landing some drives of his own. And finally, during the 7th round, the champion cashed in, ringing Cooper's bell time after time without getting an answer. And then, just 2 seconds from the end of the round, veteran referee Mills Lane stepped in and called it a day.
I was too tired. we want to argue after they stopped the fight, and I'm a little tired. He was too. And so we want to argue. I'll leave it to these guys to argue, you know what I'm saying? They seen it, y'all seen it. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like arguing. Just pay me.
Let me tell you something. Wait until these fellas look at the tape and take and count the punches that he hit him with the uppercuts and the hooks. 25 uppercuts. What do you want to do? Scrape the guy off the canvas? This guy did everything but destroy him out there. This guy will be back to fight again.
He didn't want to go down. He wanted to win. And he did everything he could while I was there, and I just wasn't able to get it.
And so the day's work is done. Evander Holyfield retains his undisputed heavyweight championship of the world and moves to 27-0 in the process. But the ghost of Mike Tyson continues to haunt the hallways of the Omni in Atlanta. And the question, still on the minds of all boxing fans everywhere, had it been Mike Tyson instead of Bert Cooper, would Evander still be wearing the belts? In Atlanta, I'm Fred Hickman, CNN Sports.
Well, at the very least, Cooper will now get his chances at some of the top to middle rank contenders in much larger paydays than he's used to. And who knows, Duva indicated if he gets a couple wins against those fighters and Holyfield beats Tyson, should they fight, a rematch might be in order. Anna?
Evander Holyfield called his fight against Bert Cooper a no-win situation. He didn't mean that literally. The heavyweight champ knew if he knocked out Cooper early on, people would say he was supposed to. And if he struggled, people would want to know why he struggled. Cooper, who was a stand-in for a stand-in, went off as a 22-1 underdog. Well, he nearly put him out in the 3rd round. Mills Lane giving Holyfield a standing 8 count. We went to the 5th round. Holyfield's glove is ripped, needed a change, got a little reprieve, a little breather, and then in the 7th, time running down and running out for Cooper. Holyfield with the fierce combinations. Mills stops the fight. Holyfield stays unbeaten, but Cooper gets a moral victory, if it matters.
And no more ESPN fights. No more ESPN fights. No more, ESPN fights. No more ESPN fights.
Do you remember what you got hit with in the third that staggered you?
I got hit with a good shot. I don't know whether it was left or right, but it was a good shot. And he was throwing good, strong shot throughout the fight. I was able to get away from a lot of it, and I just got hit with one.
You would not quit. You would not quit, and you did not. And how important was that for you to stay in the ring as you did tonight?
Oh, boy. I'm talking about this is important. It's very important. Because if I would have quit or whatever, my name would have been Mud. You hear me? My name would have been Mud. And I told him, I will not quit. No more quitting. No more quitting.
Tell me about the third round. Did you think you had Evander Holyfield put away?
He was put away. He was out. He was out. He figured he couldn't do nothing with me. So they said, then talking about his glove was split. I know they split it and stuff, and he had, and they didn't have time enough to let him rest and take the glove off and tape it up and stuff like that, and stuff. And it was just a whole lot of political stuff.
And so then it seemed he came back, and the third round seemed to be perhaps the round of the year.
Right, because like I said, if he wasn't going nowhere, I damn sure wasn't going nowhere.
What about the thought of Mike Tyson and the specter of Tyson over this fight, this event, and perhaps down the road?
Well, it's hard to say. He got hurt, and I was looking forward to fighting him, but I realized that I got to do what's best for myself, and not just look to aim just to fight one individual, because it shows that you can get yourself caught up, want to fight someone else, and someone else slip in the back door and end it for you.
Following the fight, Holyfield spoke vaguely about retiring, but he is still signed to fight Mike Tyson, depending on the status of Tyson's rape charges coming up in January. Bob?
Jonathan, we had quite a treat this evening talking about Thanksgiving. A great fight between Evander Holyfield and Bert Cooper. Now, coming into this thing, we did not think it was going to be a great fight. Bert Cooper is a guy who's the third choice to fight, of course, after Mike Tyson had to bow out with rib injuries. November the 8th, that fight was scheduled for Las Vegas. Then Damiani was supposed to come in. He pulled out last Sunday with an ankle injury. Enter Bert Cooper, the kid out of Philadelphia. Very, very tough. He had a record of being a good puncher, but nobody expected him to be around the way he was around tonight. It was scheduled for 12. Cooper came out pretty well in the first round, but he was knocked down by Evander Holyfield. But in the third round, Cooper, showing this chin that we were going to see, was able to sting Evander Holyfield, the heavyweight champion, fighting before his hometown fans. You see, he went up against the ropes, and the ropes, frankly, were the only thing holding him up. Mills Lane, the referee, called it a knockdown. There is no standing 8 count, or there was no standing 8 count involved in this particular fight. Then the haymakers began. Both guys just trading blows throughout the fight. In the 5th round, it was just haymaker after haymaker, and what we saw was a right uppercut doing a lot of damage to the challenger, Bert Cooper. But in the 7th round is when it really started raining those right hands. I mean, 25 consecutive shots delivered to Cooper. What was holding him up? Nobody here has been able to figure that out yet, except for a lot of heart, a lot of chin, and a lot of stamina for a guy who, as I mentioned, did not have a whole lot of training. Mills Lane had seen enough. He finally stepped in and stopped the thing. 2 seconds left in the round. A good referee, and Mills Lane is a good referee, does not keep track of the time. He was simply looking at his man, looking at Bert Cooper, finding that his neck was a little wobbly, that he was just being held up purely by guts and was not able to really continue on too long. He was trying to keep the guy from getting hurt, basically. So he called the fight with 2 seconds left. But an eventful evening. Evander Holyfield knocked down for the first time since 1979, but still managing to get the TKO and moving to 27-0 on his career. We're waiting for the champion to emerge from his locker room right now. Obviously, he's got to be a little bit beaten down and a little bit tired. He could not put this guy away tonight. We'll, of course, have a full report for you coming up on CNN Sports late night. That'll be at 2:30 a.m. Eastern Time, 11:30 p.m. Pacific Time, but it has been quite a night in Atlanta and quite not an easy payday at all for Evander Holyfield.